Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're tackling a Leetcode problem called Count Subarrays with Fixed Bounds. It sounds a bit mathematical, but don't worry, we'll break it down step by step and find an efficient way to solve it. Let's dive in. Okay, so the problem gives us a list of numbers, called nums. It also gives us two specific numbers, minK and maxK. Our job is to count how many subarrays, that's continuous parts of the original list, have minK as their absolute smallest value, and maxK as their absolute largest value. Both conditions have to be true for a subarray to count. The constraints tell us the list can be pretty long, up to 100,000 numbers. Let's look at the first example. The list is 1, 3, 5, 2, 7, 5. We're looking for subarrays where the minimum is exactly 1, and the maximum is exactly 5. The first subarray that works is 1, 3, 5. Its minimum is 1, its maximum is 5. Perfect. The next one is 1, 3, 5, 2. The minimum here is still 1, and the maximum is still 5. So this one counts too. What about 1, 3, 5, 2, 7? Nope. The maximum is 7, not 5. What about 3, 5, 2? Minimum is 2, not 1. What about 5, 2, 7, 5? Minimum is 2, maximum is 7. Doesn't work. What about 7, 5? Max is 7. No, men. What about 5? Min and max are both 5. Doesn't fit. So only those two subarrays work, giving us an output of 2. Makes sense? Now for the second example. The list is 1, 1, 1, 1, and we need minK to be 1, and maxK to be 1. We'll think about any subarray here. Like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. In every single possible subarray, the minimum value is 1, and the maximum value is also 1. They all satisfy the conditions. How many subarrays are there in a list of length 4? Let's see. Length 1, 1, 1, 1, 4. Length 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. Length 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Adding those up. 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. That's 10 subarrays. So the output is 10. Okay, the most straightforward idea is just check everything. We could look at every single possible start position and every single possible end position to define a subarray. Then, for each subarray, we'd scan through it to find its minimum and maximum values. If the minimum is minK and the maximum is maxK, we add 1 to our count. This works, but if the list is long, like 100,000 items, the number of subarrays is huge, roughly n squared divided by 2. And finding the min/max for each takes time too. This approach would likely be order n cubed, or maybe order n squared, if we're clever about finding min/max. Given the input size constraint, this is probably too slow. We need a faster way. Let's think about what makes a subarray invalid. A subarray is definitely not a fixed-bound subarray if it contains any number smaller than minK or any number larger than maxK, right? This is a really important observation. It means these numbers act like barriers. They break the original array into smaller, independent segments. We only need to look for fixed-bound subarrays within the segments that contain numbers only between minK and maxK, inclusive. We can process each segment separately. So let's imagine we're looking at one of these segments where all numbers are between minK and maxK. Now how do we count the fixed-bound subarrays within this segment? Inside such a segment, the minimum value will always be greater than or equal to minK, and the maximum value will always be less than or equal to maxK. The only thing we need to ensure is that the subarray contains both minK and maxK. If it contains both, its minimum must be minK, and its maximum must be maxK, because all other numbers are in between. Okay, we can do this efficiently with a single pass through the array. Let's keep track of a few things as we go. First, the index where we last saw the value minK. Let's call this min_idx. Second, the index where we last saw the value maxK. Let's call this max_idx. Third, and this is crucial, the index of the last number we encountered that was outside the valid range, min_k. Let's call this bad_idx. This marks the beginning of our current potentially valid window. We'll initialize these indices to something like -1. Now let's walk through the array using an index I. First, check the number at nums. If it's less than minK or greater than maxK, it's a number. It breaks any potential subarrays ending here, so we update bad_idx to be the current index I. This effectively resets our window. If the number is within the valid range, we check if it's equal to minK. If so, we update min_idx to I. Similarly, if it's equal to maxK, we update max_idx to I. Now the clever part: how many valid subarrays end exactly at index I? A subarray ending at I is valid if 1. It starts after the last known index, bad_idx. 2. It includes both the most recently seen minK, at min_idx, and the most recently seen maxK, at max_idx. To satisfy both conditions, the subarray must start at or after the index bad_idx plus 1, and it must start at or before the earlier of the two indices, min_idx and max_idx. Let's call this min_idx, max_idx. So the number of possible start positions for valid subarrays ending at I is the difference between the latest possible start, min_idx, max_idx, and the earliest invalid start, bad_idx. This gives us min_idx, max_idx, minus bad_idx. We should take the maximum of this value and 0, just in case min_idx or max_idx hasn't been found yet in the current window, or if the earlier index is before bad_idx. We calculate this value for each I and add it to our running total count. Okay, here's the Python code that implements this logic. It might look a bit dense at first glance, but it directly follows the idea we just discussed. Don't worry, we'll walk through the key parts. First, we initialize our total count to 0. Then, we set up those three important index trackers, min_pos for the last position of minK, max_pos for the last position of maxK, and bad_pos for the last position of an out-of-bounds number. We initialize them all to -1, indicating we haven't seen them yet. We also store the length of the input list nums. Then we start looping through the array, from index 0 up to the end. Inside the loop, for each number nums, we first check if it's outside our required range, minK, to maxK. If it is, we update bad_pos to the current index by. This marks the boundary. If the number is within the range, we check if it's exactly minK. If yes, update min_pos. We do the same check for maxK and update max_pos if it matches. This is the core calculation step within the loop. We figure out the earliest index that includes both the last seen minK and maxK. That's simply the smaller of min_pos and max_pos. Let's call this potential_starts. The number of valid subarrays ending right here at I depends on how many starting positions exist between the last position, bad_pos, and this potential_starts index. That count is potential_starts, bad_pos. We use max, 0, to ensure we don't add a negative number, if, for example, we haven't found both minK and maxK within the current valid window, i.e., since the last bad_po. Finally, we add this valid_starts_ count to our running total count. After the loop finishes, we return the total count. So how efficient is this approach? We make exactly one pass through the input array nums. Inside the loop, we're doing just a few comparisons and updates, which take constant time, so the total time complexity is directly proportional to the length of the array, which we call big O of n, or order n. That's really good. What about memory? We're only using a few variables: count, min_poxes, max_poxes, bad_poxes, ni, regardless of how big the input array is. This means the space complexity is constant, which we call big O of 1 foot, or order 1. This is also excellent, much better than the n squared or n cubed brute force. Alright, let's quickly recap. We needed to count subarrays where the minimum value was exactly minK and the maximum was exactly maxK. The key insight was realizing that numbers outside this range break the array into segments we can analyze independently. Our efficient solution involved a single pass through the array, keeping track of the most recent indices for minK, maxK, and any numbers. For each position, we calculated how many valid subarrays could end there based on these tracked indices and added it to our total count. This gave us a fast order n time and order 1 footspace solution. Hope that explanation helped clear things up. If you found this useful, please hit the like button, consider subscribing for more Leetcode breakdowns, and feel free to leave comments or questions below. And hey, if you're feeling extra supportive, the Boba Fun link is always appreciated. Keep practicing, happy coding, and I'll see you in the next video.